How do you see the rise of AI tools like ChatGPT impacting SEO strategies today?
All-in-one SEO is a game changer when it comes to digital marketing.
I use this plugin for all my WordPress implementations.
And it practically does every step for you.
I think your product is one of my favorite plugins that I use on every single client site that I build.
It opened my eyes to what's possible in terms of SEO.
It gives practical suggestions. These suggestions have really significantly boosted our website search engine rankings.
Welcome to episode 2 of SEO Superstars, where we interview SEO experts. I'm Matthew Olson. I'm here today with Zach Kwarta. Zach is the general manager of a couple of big WordPress plugins, Envira and Monster Insights. So Zach, I'll let you introduce yourself, and maybe you can tell people who don't know what the heck is Monster Insights.
Yeah, thanks, Matthew. Yeah, I've been in the SEO space for quite a while. I'm a digital marketer at heart. And so it actually aligns really well with Monster Insights, which I'm really excited to be talking about a little bit more here. But Monster Insights is the #1 WordPress plugin for Google Analytics. And so we allow, it's kind of our company's mantra, right? Helping the small guys grow and compete against the big guys. And so that's exactly what we do. We make insights and analytics super easy, super powerful for anyone, regardless if they're an expert or not on understanding website analytics and metrics and all that cool stuff. We make it nice and easy. So that's Monster Insights in a nutshell. It's a really cool plugin. So yeah, excited to be chatting with you today.
Yeah, very cool. I played around with Monster Insights myself, and what I love about it is everything's right there in WordPress. You don't have to have multiple tabs open. I feel like these days there's almost too much information in Google Analytics.
Yeah.
So Monster Insights makes it a lot more understandable. Yeah, all right. Let's jump right in and let me ask you an SEO related question. How do you think AI has changed the way we approach keyword research and content optimization, if it has at all?
Yeah, great question. I think that whatever we talk about today, it might be a little bit different tomorrow and the next week and the next week after that. I really do think that we're on the cusp of something really awesome, actually. When you think about, the point of SEO is surfacing, the right information to the right people. And I think with AI and the way it can start interpreting and analyzing and understanding more than just what a crawler could, it opens the door to a whole bunch of different ways to think about how to optimize, whether it's for, a typical crawler or something more like a, ChatGPT or any sort of GPTs coming out. It really allows you to start thinking things like more along the way of how a customer would want to interact with you and find you and interact with you. Sorry, my dog, she'd get a little antsy here. But instead of, thinking about keywords and just, what's my target keyword? What's my target keyword? What am I trying to rank for, right? I think that what we're starting to see now is it's a lot more about what job are you solving for? What are you actually trying to help your user with? And not so fixated on that single keyword that you're trying to rank for. And so when we start looking at this, over the next few years, I think that keyword research probably is going to be important, but maybe not the main factor, right? Because typically your SEO is going to be saying, all right, let's pick a target keyword. Is it long tail or short tail? And let's kind of create the content and the outline around from that. And I think ultimately what's going to happen is the AI will be able to tell, is this piece of content relevant? Is it useful to the user? And it's a little less important in that specific keyword, but more on the actual experience and, what the actual kind of expertise shows up and kind of pops up as a citation into the GPT. So I know it's a long-winded way to answer your question, but I definitely do think that keyword research is changing more to, if you're familiar with the jobs to be done framework, right? We're trying to solve a user's problem. We're trying to solve their queries. And I think that when we start looking at that, kind of opens the door to a lot more expertise and not necessarily kind of the SEO game of just looking for that specific keyword.
Yeah, that's an interesting way to think about it, that you might have a page, maybe it doesn't even contain that keyword, but the AI can understand that page and know that it's going to be helpful to that person. So
Exactly. And so I think part of it too, is going to also be, there's the technical SEO world and that everyone talks about, right? Does your site properly have, proper redirects in place? Is the UI user friendly? Is it, all set up for success? Are you getting kind of those technical things out of the way? And I think that that's going to be kind of the table stakes moving forward, right? If your site is not able to be crawled and understood and essentially creating kind of those insights automatically, your site and your work on kind of SEO piece is probably not going to be seen. So I think that technical stuff and kind of getting your site ready for the chat GPTs and the crawlers and everything else is going to be just table stakes moving forward.
Yeah. So that doesn't change much. Another question related to AI and ChatGPT. How do you see the rise of AI tools like ChatGPT impacting SEO strategies today? So we were kind of talking about that in the last question.
Yeah. Everything's evolving. I just saw something today where Google Search Console, where you can log in and kind of see what queries and what pages people are getting from Google, right, straight from Google, no other third-party tools. I just saw they added some new AI insights and overviews to that whole reporting system. So I'll be honest. I think everyone's trying to figure out what this looks like. I think that now it's very easy to start thinking through. It's not just that keyword focus anymore, right? It's really going to be about solving that problem or that query and creating that reliable citation. So I think that you really just it's allowing us to kind of get past this whole entry, focus on one keyword and kind of grow beyond that. I think that, if you're using ChatGPT, if you're using these tools, it unlocks a whole bunch of power, right? So no longer do you have to technically worry about grammar checking, right? It automatically will do that for you. But it's a game changer, right? Stall check and grammar check are now just built in. I don't know about you, but I am the worst typer in the world.
Right.
And somehow it magically understands what the heck I just typed in or spoke in as I was mumbling. So I think that a lot of these tools are just going to help level the playing field for a lot of folks. And I think it's going to help with a lot of the automation of like just the routine tasks that people typically do. And as Google and ChatGPT, and I imagine a lot of the other AI companies out there, they're going to start exposing, my personal opinion, they need to expose what's important to, the LLMs, right? Because they need that content, they need that information. And so in order to help guide people onto what and how to create, I think there's gonna be a lot more exposure into how to leverage these tools better in the future.
Yeah. Got another question for you. This one, I think it's going to be right up your alley. How can SEO professionals leverage website analytics like Monster Insights to improve their SEO? So kind of the flip side of the coin. One side is the SEO, the other side is, did this work or what's the impact of that SEO?
Yeah. So, as I mentioned before, I'm a marketer at heart, right? And so marketers love data. They love stats. They love metrics. They love seeing all this stuff. And if you're not running analytics on your website, you don't know what's happening, right? And so when you have a tool like Monster Insights, where it automatically integrates with Google Analytics, you can actually see what queries are coming in, where people are coming from, what devices they're on. And so you can leverage all those insights to update your site's UI, your site's content, your site's design, and pretty much everything based upon what the data is showing you. There's nothing more scary as a performance marketer like myself. I'm not relying on the data and just kind of swinging at it. So I think that that's where the power of analytics and data can really help guide a lot of the SEO strategy. Things like just getting down into the weeds a little bit. If like bounce rate is a common metric that we talk about, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you see that from your organic sessions or your organic search traffic coming in your website and your bounce rate is particularly high on one specific page, that could tell you, hey, something's not matching up here. People aren't getting what they need off of that. Maybe let's go dig in and figure out what specifically, is missing from that. The exit rates, same thing. Like what pages people are leaving on, right? You can start creating these stories and creating these user journeys and leveraging the analytics and the data to help bring more traffic in from Google and all the other search engines. So to me, they're one and the same. SEO and analytics, they're a match made in heaven. You need one to drive the other, in my opinion.
Yeah, without analytics, you're really just throwing it out there and hoping it's like driving blind. Idea what's going on.
Exactly.
All right, and then final question for listeners just starting their journey with SEO and analytics on WordPress sites. What first steps do you think they should take to build a strong foundation to grow those sites?
Yeah, for sure. You know, what's great about the WordPress ecosystem is that there's just so many plugins and there's so many bolt-on functionality and features that you can add usually with the click of a button. So, obviously all-in SEO, that's like, talking about SEO, obviously you want to install all-in-one SEO, right? Like I've been using all-in-one SEO for years and years now. I think close to 18 years, if I'm not mistaken. Really close. It's an old product I've been using forever. That sets your site up for success, right? So you're automatically showing the search engines or the LLMs, hey, everything's optimized, right? So I have my titles, my keywords. I can start creating content and start going towards the certain thing they want to. Like that's table stakes. All-in-one SEO. The second one obviously is going to be a self plug for Monster Insights, right? We talked about this where you bring in the data, you bring in the analytics, you bring in the stats to understand, hey, is my SEO investment working? Or are my efforts going, are they being rewarded? And then I also think there's a lot of, from the SEO side, those are kind of the two main ones. But then, not to self promote, but I will. Well, down for, like we're, so we have a product at Monster Insights within the team called User Feedback, right? So user feedback is a really great and powerful tool. So if you think about Monster Insights, our tagline is it shows you the stats that matter. Well, user feedback actually shows you the qualitative feedback, right? You can actually collect and understand what's happening on our website. What content do people want to read? Why are people not making purchases? And so by being able to collect a lot of that qualitative data along with the quantitative data, I think that immediately creates like a really strong kind of top 3 plugins from my perspective. Of course, if you're setting up, a website, you probably want people reaching out to you, right? And so that would be a great opportunity to plug WPForms, right? It's the #1 contact form for WordPress, right? Which Monster Insights integrates with automatically, which makes it really nice and easy. There's a whole bunch of other tools in our portfolio. OptinMonster is a really great example. Once you have the traffic coming in, what do you do with it? Create an email list. Engage with those users, right? You spent all that time acquiring that customer and getting that visitor to your website. Leverage that. They might not make a purchase on their first visit to your website, but create an email list. And so a tool like OptinMonster can help you out with that. And then some themes, right? WordPress has endless themes. Another sister product of ours called SeedProd makes it super duper easy to literally stand up a website in a couple of seconds.
Yeah.
They have this really cool AI tool. You type in what you're looking for, and then bing, bang, boom, in 5 seconds, you have a really great looking website without any code or effort. So I think that, those kind of core plugins can really get someone up and running super duper quickly. Whether you're a publisher or an e-commerce store, it's all about the SEO, it's the analytics, it's collecting that feedback and growing your marketing list. I think those are probably the 4. I mean, I think there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of plugins that do a lot of cool things, but I'll be biased. I'll say if you get started with those few plugins, I think you'll be off to the races and running.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. You have a unique perspective on this, and I think that'll really help anyone who's just starting out to get that foundation set up for success with their WordPress website. Thank you, Zach. Thanks for being with us on this episode, and thank you everybody for watching this episode of SEO Superstars. And every product that you talked about today, I'll put a link in the description below this video. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Matthew.
If you don't already have our awesome all-in-one SEO plugin installed, we've got a link to it in the description below this video. It can help you out with the task in this video, as well as many other SEO jobs that you might have to do on your WordPress website. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a like. And if you want to get the SEO of your WordPress website handled today, click the very first link in the description below this video to download all-in-one SEO right now.